reasons for that. We are destroying their habitats, people are hunting great whites out of fear, but also but of course the main issue that sharks are facing is the trade, the demand for shark fin soup. It's an Asian delicacy that is particularly common at weddings in China, Japan, Taiwan, Vietnam and India. And of course, the fins themselves add no flavour at all. They're all purely for texture. And in many cultures like China, eating shark fin soup is a status symbol, and there are lots of people who now want to have it. And of course, these animals are apex predators, and if they are destroyed, then the whole ecosystem of the seas could collapse. But I mean, there are people who are brave enough to get in the water with great whites, but that's quite often in a shark diving cage, which is a little bit safer to use. And of course, but even so, it's not for the faint-hearted. But while I think great white sharks are the second most frightening animal in the world, I also think they are some of the most magnificent creatures. In fact, here, off the coast of South Africa, is where they are found. Now, the next group of animals I'm going to show you are some of the most misunderstood, but also important of all creatures. They are vultures. Now, there are many kinds of vulture in Africa. There's the griffin vulture, the hooded vulture, the Egyptian vulture. I'm not entirely sure what species this is. Of course, vultures are birds of prey, but of course they don't usually do their own hunting. I mean, they are scavengers, but if you think about it, scavengers are just predators going about getting their meal the easy way. And vultures are some of the most important of all creatures, because they're called the undertakers of the bush. Because when an animal dies, vultures will go out, will find the carcass, and they will consume it. And of course, they consume all the rotting meat, and that prevents the spread of diseases like botulism, tuberculosis, Ebola, and even malaria. And of course, they have eyesight that's 8 times more powerful than ours, and they're very, very intelligent birds. But, unfortunately, vultures are some of the most threatened of all birds, and it's their scavenging nature that has been landing them in trouble. But the worst is farmers and poachers. Of course, farmers, because they use a veterinary drug on their cattle, and when the cows die, the vultures consume it. It builds up in their system, causes kidney failure, and eventually it kills them. But worst is poachers, because poachers kill vultures because they give away their positions to park rangers. And quite often they either shoot them or, even worse, poison them. And vultures only have like one chick every 2 years, and quite often they bring poisoned meat back to their nest. And that means they bring the poisoned meat with them back to their chick, and then that's 2 generations of vulture wiped out like that. Like that. And it's meant now that vultures have been lost in about 80 to 95% of their range in Africa. It was originally worse in Asia, but now it's even worse in Africa. And without these animals, then carcasses are just going to build up in the bush and spread diseases that will not just affect the wildlife, but also affect the humans. And that's one reason why I'm trying to get people to accept vultures a little more, because people look at vultures and say, oh no, they're incredibly ugly creatures, but I think that's incredibly unfair, as they are gorgeous. but also some of the most important of all creatures, and without them, carcasses will just build up and spread diseases. This was their range in Africa, but you can see they've been lost at about 95% of their range, which to me is absolutely heartbreaking. Now, the final animal I'm going to show you is probably the most fearless prey animal in the whole world. It is the ratel, also known as the honey badger. Now, honey badgers are in the weasel family, and they contain some of the meanest animals on earth, like weasels, stoats, otters, wolverines. And these are animals that are well known for ferocity, bravery, punching above their weight, and taking on animals way bigger than they are and having no fear at all. And as their name suggests, honey badgers do love honey. Of course, well, they do love honey, but they also eat grubs, small mammals, and they even will take on Africa's most venomous snakes. And believe it or not, a honey badger, if it's bitten by a venomous snake, it can just sleep off the effects of the poison. They have some immunity to the venomous snake bites. And of course, they can even chase off animals bigger than them, such as jackals, leopards, and even fully grown lions. I mean, they may look very cute and cuddly, but I really would not advise trying to give one a cuddle, because you'd probably end up getting ripped apart. And of course, there was actually an actual world documentary a few years back with a honey badger called Stoffel, and he was actually very popular for actually breaking out of his enclosure at a wildlife park and then causing havoc and then going back into his enclosure, which was actually quite funny. And of course, despite the fact that honey badgers are well known for being fearless, they can also be just a little bit stupid, as quite often they've often picked fights with prides of lions, which has caused them to be killed. And also, they've been going after beekeepers' bees to get at their honey, which has often caused the beekeepers to retaliate in killing them. But there are people working to stop these conflicts. But even so, the honey badger is not endangered to the best of my knowledge, but they are still the most fearless animal on earth that can chase away lions, can have some immunity to venomous snakes, and can take on the most aggressive bees in the world. And here is their range. And now, as last bit, I'm going to show you all the different badgers of the world. The true badgers of Europe, there's the European badger. As you can see here, we have those badgers here in the UK. There's Asian badgers, the Japanese badger, the American badger, the honey badger, which I've already showed you, then the ferret badgers, the Burmese ferret badger, Chinese ferret badger, the Vietnam ferret badger, Javan ferret badger, and Bornean ferret badger, the greater hog badger, the northern hog badger, and the Sumatran hog badger. Yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of badger species. That has been my PowerPoint presentation, well, my remastering of the 18 Animals of Africa PowerPoint presentation. As I mentioned, I will be doing this again with my other PowerPoints, but the ones I've already done, do check them out. There'll be links for them down below. But for now, do drop a comment on my videos, as well as subscribe to my channel and let me know if you want to see more of this.